Everybody wants to build wealth, of course, but 77% of Americans don't know what they can safely spend in retirement. This week, particularly in the light of last night's event, we try to pull those two things together and help people better understand what they might need. So at last night's event, we had a couple guests from Dimensional Fund Advisors, and really what we were looking at was a continuation of last week's commentary for those of you who caught it, which is how does one build wealth and maximize wealth creation? There are those who certainly try to be individual stock pickers and go down that methodology. Dimensional Fund Advisors, founded by a couple Nobel Prize winners, really took a different tack that if one looks back on their track record here over the last few decades, has certainly worked as they've been among the best managers. Taking that concept, though, in light of a couple weeks ago in the LIVE methodology, it doesn't necessarily correlate exactly to how much people might need in retirement. And so that very question came up after the presentation, where a dear client came up and said, you know, one of the things that's coming up regularly with my colleagues is, how much do I need to have put away for retirement? There's a great commercial on its effectiveness. Garbage is a financial planning issue, but that's a different commentary, which was everybody walking around with their numbers. And again, what that number needs to be is highly dependent on your story. And if there's any theme that we hope clients and or potential clients take away from these videos, it is that we're not coming with a preset agenda of what we need to do it for you, other than listening to your story and mapping our solutions accordingly. So what did we cover last night for those of you who maybe didn't join? Well, if you look back, and if your singular goal was, I'm just trying to build as much wealth as I can, and thinking through that LIVE methodology, I don't need a lot of liquidity, I don't really need a lot of income, I can put up with a ton of volatility. I can tell you that's very few people. I'm just looking for as big of an expected return as I can historically. The answer to that to date has been small cap value stocks. They've outperformed the S&P 500 by about 50% on an annualized basis. And again, that number is not 50 total percent, but rather S&P's averaged around 10, where the small cap value stocks have averaged around 15%. Well, for a lot of people, they think, oh, my work's done here, let's do that and be on with it. But the issue there is, in light of that client's comments and questions that his colleagues have been raising, what do I need to be put away? That can really muddy that question. Here's what I mean by it. If you're looking at small cap value stocks, which we certainly think for many people would be a part of their wealth building and or maintenance component of their portfolio, you would need to have put away, if you're going to live off the dividends, over $8 million to generate, let's say, a $100,000 income stream. If you're in the S&P 500 with a little bit higher dividend rate, that number drops to $5.3 million that you would need to put away to get $100,000. If you look at a lot of the diversified income strategies, similar to those that we would build for clients here that would have a 5% income stream, that number drops to $2 million. So again, the question becomes, what are we trying to solve for? What is your story? There's that theoretical money management, which again is highly important. We covered that in detail last night around wealth creation, and that really isn't even to retirement, but through retirement type process. But then there's also creating a plan that maps to what you want to do. For a lot of people, they would say, you know, my goal isn't to die with $20 million in the bank account. It's to be able to retire earlier, spend time with my family. And so therefore, the things we're going to bring to bear, small cap value stocks or a more diversified portfolio inclusive of them, is going to be highly dependent. That's in a nutshell what this entire series again has been about, from the LIVE methodology to why it's not just about stock picking, to that balance between wealth creation and really goal planning and knowing what it is you're trying to accomplish. Is it a set dollar amount in a bank account, or is it an ability to meet a certain living standard either now or in retirement? And that's where we come in, is to really sit down, listen to you, help unpack perhaps some of the misconceptions that people may have had for whatever reason, and get to what is your story and how do we make that a reality. Thanks for those of you who were able to join us last night. If you weren't, we hope to catch you in an event soon. Thanks so much. Coco? Oh, your kids would love it. So like the new Pixar movie. But he's like, every time he gets ready to perform, he's like, hey, 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 give me your best Grito. This is my life now. My kids, right? Don't put that in there.
We're still in
That's not the lead in.